If you don't know who this is, well, may I just say, he makes the best pizzas officially in the world. This is Johnny Francesco from 400 Gradi, and he's here to show us how to make it. And I'm so lucky to have you here.
You know, people think that it's really difficult to make pizza at home, but it's actually not too difficult at all.
Okay, Johnny, well, show me how it's done.
Okay, great. So we're going to start off with a couple of key ingredients. I'm going to get you to measure up some salt for me.
Sure.
So only 30 grams of salt.
Okay.
So what we'll do first is we'll start off with the water.
Trying to measure accurately.
Yep.
So it's spot on.
Yep.
Got
Fantastic.
it.
And then we're going to add the salt to the water. Now, start off with water, salt, dissolve all the salt. And then the next process is actually quite interesting. A lot of people will then add yeast, but if you do that, you're going to lessen or you're going to kill the yeast. Right?
Salt, they don't like salt,
That's
do they?
correct. So what we're going to do is we're going to add about 10% of the flour to dilute it and then to separate.
Right.
Okay, so what we normally would do is if you can put it through.
Does this just give you a lighter
Yeah,
dough?
so we're aerating.
Aerating, okay. Who taught you how to make pizza?
I've been making pizza since I was 12, or, you know, just trying anyway. And then a few years back, I thought, I want to go back to Naples, you know, because my family's from there, and I thought, I want to go and see what they actually do and why it's so special.
Yeah.
Because today, well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make Neapolitan-style pizza.
Oh, wow. So, Johnny, I can see you're mixing with your hands, and when you're cooking, the hands are the best utensil, aren't they?
Definitely. Even in making dough, the most important thing is not to transfer too much heat. Right. So with your hands, you're only transferring your body temperature. It's really important to try and have a finished dough mix between 24 and 26 degrees, no more than that. As you can see, we've got pretty liquidy sort of dough. We're now going to add the yeast. And if everyone notices, we're only using 3 grams of yeast.
Doesn't seem like much.
Very little amount. And you don't need to dissolve that in water. A lot of people say, oh, I dissolve the yeast. You don't need to. No. Just drop it straight in the mix. Because it's so liquidy, it's going to dissolve on its own. So we'll keep adding now more flour as we go. Okay, so as we get it to this consistency, as you can see, it's quite dense now. I'm going to turn this onto the bench. And this is the fun part. Okay. So you're going to start using a little bit of... muscles. So I'll add that. Now, if you can help me and add a little bit of flour as...
Sure. And each dough will be different depending on what flour you use, is that correct? It sort of takes on depending on the protein level,
correct.
Isn't it?
So protein level is really important. Just depends. If you're making Neapolitan-style pizza, you don't want to exceed any more than 13.5% protein or... You know, if you're using an Italian flour, you look at the W rating, which is between 280 to 330. That's very, very important.
Okay. Now, 400 Gradi, a famous restaurant in Melbourne. There must be queues of people now at your restaurant.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You know, we've got queues down Lygon Street, and but you know, we're trying our best, and my staff are working really hard. We're trying to get everyone in, and you know, it's very, very overwhelming, and really appreciative as well to the Australian public because they're supporting us, and you know, it's really fantastic.
And he's so humble too. How amazing is that? Okay, so you've been working that for about not too long, about 5 minutes.
Yep. So this is pretty much nearly done. Okay. Now there's a way to actually see if you've formed the glutinate in the dough and you've mixed it long enough, ready to be put aside to rise. And a little trick. What you do is once you've finished kneading your dough, make a dough ball. You then press into the centre. If it springs back up, that means your dough is ready. Okay. If you press down and it just stays there, that means you need to mix a little bit longer.
That is such a fantastic tip.
Okay, so if you can pass me the bowl just then so we can put this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to let this dough rest in a bowl covered with a damp cloth.
Okay.
And we'll let it rest for about 2 hours before we make our portions for our pizzas. Then once we've portioned it out, we're going to let that rest for 24 hours. Now, depending on the temperature, we try not to use any refrigeration. We always try and keep it as natural as possible. So natural fermentation outside of the fridge. Now, we've got some dough that I made 24 hours ago. And as you can see, it's nice and soft.
It is.
It's been resting for 24 hours.
Beautiful.
So we're going to now make some pizzas out of this.
Okay, well this is the fun part. So we're going to clean down a little bit and then get our toppings ready. The base of the pizza, tomatoes, not just any tomato base, right?
No, sarmazzano. So we're going to use some sarmazzano tomato, and I'm going to show you a really specific way of preparing this tomato. So we're only going to use salt and the tomatoes, but we're not going to use any mechanical machinery to blitz it. We're going to use our hands. And the reason that we do that, there's a specific reason, is that all the seeds in the tomato, you want to keep them intact. Because if you break them, then you're putting a little bit of bitterness into the tomato. So squashing it by hand, you're never going to crush a seed, and you're going to have a beautifully, naturally sweet sarmazzano tomato base.
And that's why you use these tomatoes, don't you? Because they are really, really sweet, not too acidic.
Correct, correct. They're grown in a specific region where the soil is, you know, naturally heated by the Vesuvio.
Oh, amazing. So how much salt would you add to that?
So with that amount of tomato, I would only add about a pinch.
Okay.
So I'm going to use my hands, and yes, I did wash them.
Of course, we trust you.
So,
great.
and as you can see, all the seeds are intact.
All right, so the tomatoes are ready. That's the first part to this amazing margherita pizza. And now onto the dough.
Onto the dough. So I think before we stretch the dough out,
Yes.
I'm going to get you to cut the mozzarella for me, and
Yes.
I'll stretch the dough.
Okay. So is there a technique to stretching dough?
There is, so stretching a Neapolitan pizza, there is a specific technique, and if you can see, I'm going to actually start from the bottom of the base, about an inch in from the dough, and I'm going to work my way up to the top, and I'll stop again about an inch before I get to the top of the dough. What I'm doing is I'm pushing all the gases into the corners of the dough. In Italian, we call that the cornicione, or the crust. And what we're doing is we're going to fill that with air, so once we cook it, it's going to be really airy and light. Now, a lot of people leave the crust, and it kills me sometimes because
they don't eat the crust?
They don't eat the crust,
Oh.
so they'll eat the internal part of the pizza and then they leave the crust. So
It's outrageous, that.
it is, it is. But what people don't get is that in this style of pizza, the crust is the most important part of the pizza. And the reason that I say that is that it's actually the part that helps you digest because it's light and airy. So as you can see, I'm doing the same technique, bringing it up.
Yep.
The next process is quite unique. I'll place my right hand on one side of the dough, and with my other hand, I'm going to pull the dough, and I'm going to bring it over to my wrist, and then I'm going to slap it back down. Okay. Now, what have I done? I've turned the dough, so I'm actually going to get a round, circular finished dough because of that process. So again, there. And it's quite simple. You can see I'm not stressing out. It's a really simple method.
And so how fast would you actually do it in the restaurant?
So in the restaurant, that would be the process.
Show off.
So that would be my finished dough.
Perfect.
I'm going to stretch the next pizza.
Yes.
If you can start picking the basil for me.
I can indeed. How much basil would you like?
Look, we're going to probably put 4 or 5 basil leaves per pizza.
Beautiful. Fresh basil. Wow.
Okay.
Now, a real pizza should have very minimal ingredients. Does it really hurt you sometimes when you see these pizzas that have really wacky toppings or 100 different types of toppings?
You know, I always say less is more. So,
Yeah.
you know, having minimal ingredients on the pizza, you're going to taste everything. You're going to get the flavour of the dough, the flavour of the mozzarella, you know, the basil, and it's just, and you can smell that, how beautiful that
It
is.
smells so good.
So we're going to be using buffalo mozzarella. We only use buffalo mozzarella for Margherita. We don't use fiore di latte, which is another type of mozzarella. Now that we've got that on there, we're going to put some basil.
Okay. Is that enough basil?
Oh, that's heaps.
I love it a lot.
I love basil, so
Look at the colours, the Italian flag. Is this your favourite pizza? I'm sure a lot of people always ask you,
this
what's
is
your
my
favourite?
favourite pizza, yeah.
I would have to say this is my favourite too. Now, olive oil for the last stage. I thought because we've got amazing tomatoes, buffalo mozzarella, I'd get the best of the best olive oil for you. So I thought that one would be perfect. It's a really nice, fresh, fruity, new to the season olive oil.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll start from the centre.
Yes.
And we're going to do like just a round.
Yep. Oh, wow, look at the colours.
Next thing that we need to do is we're going to get these pizzas onto the tray. Now you can stretch the pizzas directly on the tray if that is, if it's more comfortable or makes it more comfortable for you. But what I do is I drag it onto the tray.
Okay, it's not going to break or anything?
No, not at all. And you're going to help me, so you're going to hold the tray like that.
Yep.
Now the reason that we do this is we don't want to have too much flour on the tray, because what will happen in the oven, it'll burn. And if you burn the flour on the bottom, you'll get a little bit of bitterness to the pizza. Okay. So what we'll do is I'm going to clamp the pizza like that, and I'm going to drag it onto the tray.
Oh, wouldn't want to drop that pizza at this stage.
There we go. So that's one.
Perfect.
And next
Second one.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And there's the second one. Okay, so we've preheated our ovens to about 280 degrees. So if you can open the door for me and we can get these cooking. So just then, as you can see, I've taken the pizza out of the oven.
Yep.
And the bottom is a little bit white. That's because I haven't got my wood fire oven yet browned up.
Sorry I didn't get my wood fire oven for you.
That's okay, but we've got a great tip. So what I've done is I've placed the pizza onto a cooktop and we brown up the bottom on the stove.
Perfect, what a great way. So again, this is a fantastic way to show you still can make the perfect pizza at home. Why are you leaving it over there? I'm ready to have a taste of this. Oh, wow. It smells so good. Just that olive oil and that basil, just sensational. Yum.
Okay.
So this is probably serves one person. I could eat at least 2 of these because I'm so hungry right now. And how do you eat your pizza?
Okay, so really simple. I grab a piece, I fold it, and I pull the end in.
Pull the end in?
Yep.
Oh, I've never done that before. There you go. Cheers.
Cheers.
There are no words to explain the perfect pizza. Can you believe how lucky I am? I'm standing here with the best pizza maker in the world, and his pizza's pretty damn good too. Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you.
Yum.